Hey everybody, welcome to Friday Focus. Every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, I am Laura Berman Fortgang, the author of Now What? 90 Days to a New Life Direction. And I have been answering people's questions through these live. Hey Stephanie. We're streaming to a few platforms, so if you can see StreamYard or you're on Facebook, you want to put in a question, I will see it. I can see my folks on Instagram as well and YouTube. We're just coming to you live. All right, so everybody, one of the questions that I get a lot is that people are thinking of changing careers, and that either means a job search or they're thinking of going out on their own. So what I have for you today are some questions for you to consider if you're one of those people thinking of going out on your own. Now, for some background, I have never worked for anybody else. That doesn't mean I haven't done like a money job here or a freelance job there. I mean, I used to be a waitress, but I've never had a corporate paycheck or corporate benefits. My choice, truthfully, because my father hated his job his whole life and always felt like he couldn't give that up because of his family and sending us to college and everything else. And he was miserable, and I would beg him to please quit. I can pay for my own college. And so here I am, never been employed by anybody else other than myself. And I've helped people not suffer to make a living. I want people to love what they do. It is not a luxury. I think it's actually our job to be a life that's working. And therefore, you are the biggest contribution back to the world when you're happy doing what you do, because you're probably serving others. Hi, everybody. So here are the questions that you need to think about. And I'm talking about service businesses, right? So not making a widget or selling a product or manufacturing something, but folks who might get into a consultancy or coaching or marketing or selling what they do for a company back to the company. So keep in mind, this is for service-minded individuals. I mean that in the form of a service business versus a widget business. Okay, so the first thing that people always worry about, and this goes for my neighbor next door when, he's like, what do you and your husband, self-employed people, do home all day? I could never work for myself. I need health insurance. Aha, the health insurance, right? So who's going to pay for the health insurance? You pay for your own health insurance. Yes, it's expensive, but there are many ways nowadays to make it happen. So can we just put that one aside for a little while, because I know that really, like, I need the benefits. I can't go anywhere. So you work it into a line item. All right. So the money, the next thing, I can't walk away from the sure thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Definitely a real consideration. And this is what you have to think about. Can I go for a year without an income? So if you're starting a service business, can you go a year without an income? That doesn't mean you won't make any money, but it does mean that you probably won't make the same amount of money, and that you're going to have to invest in the beginning to startup costs or other things that you need to start this business. Now everybody working from home, you're all getting a taste of what it's like to have your own business and work from home. So I find that really interesting. All right. So another question you have to ask yourself is, like, what would my startup cost be, right? So you already own a computer, you have a phone, you have Zoom, so what other things would you need? Maybe you need a designer to do a website, to maybe get a tangible product or a PDF that tells people about your business, right? You'll have some startup costs. What are those? And basically you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to invest in myself, right? So I've helped people at all levels of this process. And you have to look at it as, what can I afford to invest in myself and this transition and this business? That's a question to ask. Just a little background. It takes 1 to 3 years to get your service-based business really solid. You've heard that it takes 5 years for a business to make a profit, but I think that's more your brick and mortar, your product-oriented, widget-oriented businesses. But 1 to 3 years in a service business, and it really depends on who you know. Like anything else, do you have a network? When I started, I was an actor who only knew actors. They could pay me $50 a month. Luckily, I've graduated to many, many, many times that, but I started where I was, and I started with, I can invest 6 months or this amount of money, and whichever runs out first. Okay, so I was 20 something years old then, and that's what I could do. There was no husband supporting me. A lot of people assume that, oh, she must have had a rich husband who supported her. And no, I supported him. So, but that's another thing. Who can support you? I work with so many couples who see it as, I must contribute this amount and only this amount. It's called a partnership. So you can renegotiate your partnership, even financially. Can you afford as a couple to perhaps invest in one of you having your own business? Think about that. All right, so there's some of the financial things you have to ask yourself. And mind you, today is just a quick live. It's not going to be like the complete business plan that you need to come up with. I need you to think about some other personal things. Waiting to see if anyone posts any comments or questions, guys. Come on. Can you work alone? You know, not everyone can work alone. I love working alone. But some people, you know, they thrive in an office environment, or they thrive having people to talk to every day. You've got to ask yourself, can you work alone? Do you want a partner? What would a partnership look like? And really, if you do think about the partnership route, think of people who balance you out, right? You have to think about, what are the weaknesses that I'm going to have to budget for, right? So if you're never going to do your own books because you hate numbers, you've got to budget for having a bookkeeper, right? That's not even a full partner. But let's say you go into a partnership, you know, making sure you don't have both the same skill set, that you actually complement each other and make up for each other's weaknesses. All right, so those are some of the personal things to think about. Now you got to think about, what are you doing? What's your product? What are you going to sell? And who are you going to sell it to? And where are those clients? And how are you going to reach them? All right, so that's sort of section 3. Like, what exactly you're going to do and at what price, right? And reverse engineer. You know, if you want to come close to your current salary, what are you selling at what price point? How many do you have to sell per year? And I mean your time or your consultancy or whatever it is that you're going to build. Other things to think about, the gaps in your knowledge. In your initial investment, are you going to have to invest in some kind of training? Or having someone on board who helps fill out the pieces you can't do. All right, so now let's talk about some of the practicalities. Fear is normal, friends. Fear is just a given. I think everyone has fear, okay? So you have to make friends with fear. Starting your own thing can be very exciting and very scary. Talk to other people who have done it. See what it's like. There's so many people who have started their own thing. There's so many people you could tap. I'm sure you know somebody or someone who knows somebody. Now, don't forget that you can moonlight. You can do this on the side. I mean, I'm working with a business coach for myself right now who started her business on the side and didn't leave her corporate job until she was already making 7 figures. So go figure. You can volunteer to try out this thing you're thinking about. You can adult intern if it's something you need more experience in. So, you know, that was a fast list of questions. Go back and replay this and make sure that you get them. But these are the things for you to think about while you're considering your next life direction. And if that's where you are right now, thinking about gaining career clarity, oh, great. Someone's voice teacher has their own online studio. Exactly. March 8th, the week of March 8th, I am having a free Career Clarity Reboot event in my Facebook group. So if you don't already know where that is, go onto Facebook and look for the Now What Career Clarity and Direction community. You might be watching there right now. Ask to join. Also in there, you'll see where you just sign up for this event. You can also go to nowwhatcoaching.com/career clarity event. And there's a link here. Instagram, there's a link to it. The Facebook group, there's a link to it. And you guys on YouTube, hang tight. We'll get over there and put the link up when this goes fully live. So let me see you there the week of March 8th. We can have a whole week together talking about you, the tools that I use with people to help them get clear on what they really want to do, whether that's staying in your job, finding a new one, or starting to go out on your own. So I hope that you found this valuable. Come back and revisit those questions for yourself if you're thinking about being self-employed. I just can't do it any other way. I've been doing it, and I'm going to have to do it till the end. So thank you all for being here. Come back next Friday for the next Friday Focus, 10 a.m. Eastern. Take care. Bye, everybody.